I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight and to thank you for coming to our flag forum and to ask questions of our politicians, and thank you to those politicians who have come to answer your questions. For those of you who are new to what FLAG is and what we're all about, we are the Food Producers Landowners Action Group of Australia Incorporated, and I'd like to introduce you to its founder, Peter Manuel. He's the Executive Director of FLAG. But before I do that, I'd like to tell you why and how it was formed. In 2010, Peter attended an NRM meeting, and for those who aren't sure of what that is, it's the Natural Resource Management. In the course of that meeting, he asked a question: who owns the water that falls from the sky? He asked it 3 times before receiving an answer, and that answer was that it is owned by the Crown. While I'm sure that Peter will enlarge on the significance of that answer, that is the moment that the idea for FLAG was formed. I've only known Peter for a little over a year now, but in that time I've found him to be totally committed to and passionate about his fight for the future of our farmers and landowners and their rights to have a clean, sustainable food product on a level playing field against foreign imports and also against impossible restrictive regulations. Between the two of these things, our farmers have been pushed to the brink and our sustainability and food security is also put at risk. Peter's been called radical by some. Well, I think he would proudly wear that label in defence of our farmers' rights to farm, grow and produce a well-recognised, clean, healthy product and for the rights of all of us to have our own food security assured into the next generation. No one in FLAG is paid, in spite of what people have said. Everyone in FLAG is a volunteer. FLAG is apolitical and no one gives more time to it than Peter Manuel. Radical? I don't think so. Committed and passionate, certainly. And I'd like everyone to please welcome and meet Peter Manuel.
Thanks very much, Jenny. Yeah, well, radical, good on you. I'll wear that radical t-shirt proudly 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, if I'm going to stick up for the right to grow a clean, healthy food product on our freehold properties. But I'd just like to welcome some people here tonight. Before I introduce Professor David Flint, but we've got Pauline Hanson here tonight, who's... He's not in politics at the moment, and gee, I tell you what, you should be, Pauline. Pauline is not a racist, and Pauline's heart is for Australia and Australians, believe me. And it seems to be these days that if you're radical or you stand up against the system because you only want what's best for this country, you get called a racist or you get called radical, and they're the sort of people that I want to meet, actually, because they're normal people and they're decent people. Also, I'd like to thank the National Aboriginal Solutions guys, Trevor Headland, Todd Hutchinson and Paul Kiley for coming tonight. And we're certainly walking, talking and working together, don't worry, mate. Also, I'd like to thank Andrew Reimer and Liz McCaskill, and if you could stand up, Andrew and Liz, and let people know who you are there. Andrew's on Sunday nights and he fills in other nights, but for 5AA Talkback host. And I really urge people to listen to 5AA because it gives you the opportunity to voice your concerns and just let the public out there know what's going on. And Andrew doesn't cut you off, even if he doesn't agree with you. And when you ring through, you get the lovely Liz, who's always so very nice. And we thank you very much for coming. It's much appreciated. Look, you know, when these events are on, I sort of think, what the hell am I going to say? And I don't get much sleep because I'm not a professional speaker, but when you're passionate and you care, you've got to say something. And I'd like to start off by saying we're in a hell of a mess. And I just can't believe it. I mean, I'm 56 years of age, and to think what's happened to this country is absolutely disgraceful. I mean, we used to ride on the sheep's back. Australia was built on agriculture, and have a look where we are. It's an absolute flaming disgrace. We've got our manufacturing gone, industry gone, and that's only happened in a short time. And we get politicians telling us that, it's not viable for our car manufacturing because we can't compete with overseas. Well, if we can't compete overseas with car manufacturing, how in the hell can we compete with anything? With our wages, the cost of living and everything like that? And now, what's happening now with this environmental movement, and environmentalism, I can tell you, is destroying us. And now our biggest money earner, agriculture, is under threat. And I don't say that lightly, because the restrictions they're putting on us farmers in the way of restricting our water on our freehold properties is nothing short of criminal. They're stealing our water. And just last week, and this is not legislated, hasn't been voted on, this is just NRM policy, and the Water Minister signed off in the Eastern Mount Lofty Ranges and the Bremer Angus catchment area. We can't put in another dam. And you might say, oh yeah, look, we need this water and everything like that. We've got far too much water going out to sea, ruining our seagrass. We've got a situation where if I've got a property, I've got 3 titles, and I've got my main dam on the title in the house, and I want to sell off a couple of titles, and I might have a piddly couple of little dams there, I can't put another dam in. So those titles are worthless, absolutely worthless. It's like you building a house, 4-bedroom house and a rumpus room, and then 3 years down the track, they come into you and say you can't use those rooms. Shift your furniture out, get rid of it. And that's what's happening to us. And we're 5 years, and probably not even that, of being net food importers in this country. And you people that don't know what net food importers is, what it is we're relying on other countries to supply us with food. We're already net food importers on fruit and veg and seafood. Victoria in 2012 imported more food than it exported, Victoria. So are we in a good position? No, we're not. I've got my kids here tonight and their partners, and I thank them very much for being here. And I'm so concerned. I've got our young granddaughter, 7 months old, and I'm so concerned about their future. What in the hell are they going to eat? And if we're relying on other countries to supply us with food, what if they cut the supply? And believe me, they will. And this jargon about we haven't got the water is a load of rot. A lot of our water that goes into our artesian basin comes from New Guinea. They measure water in metres, not millimetres. When you mention that to Duna, they don't want to know about it. Of course they don't. Driest state, driest continent in Australia. There is that much water underground, it's not funny. And let's go back to the scientists. Scientists told us that the lower lakes were going to take 20 years to fill. They were full in 8 months. So do not believe scientists. You always got to look at who's paying these scientists to say what. Just because a scientist is writing something, don't have a look at it and think, oh, look, he's got to be right. Because who are they working for? Who's paying them? So I can tell you now, if you're going to sit back and just go about your business and be apathetic and stick your hand in the sand, we are going to be shafted something shocking. The only way we're going to get out of this is everybody stick together and get on radio, write letters, and just let them know that we can't put up with that. And I'd like to mention tonight that we've got the Liberal Party just here because they've refused the invitation. Here's the good old Labor government. There's the Xenophon group, and there's the Greens. Not one of them would want to come and answer your questions or listen to your concerns. And I thought it was about the people. Obviously, it's not. And I take my hat off to the Honourable Robert Brokenshire, Family First, and he's put his head on the line, I can tell you. And also, quickly, Jackie Lambie, Senate-elect in Tasmania for Palmer United, is here. Come all the way from Tasmania. Fighting for the vets, and I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't want to cross her. I'll introduce the other candidates a little bit later who are here. We'll ask them to come up the front. But look, honestly, we're in a real mess. We're $14 billion in debt in this state. Our hard-earned money, this government has just wasted it. And that's going to leave a legacy for our kids and our grandkids. And what have we got left to sell? We've got nothing left to sell. And once you sell something, you lose the capacity to earn. And we're getting to the stage now where we can't earn anything. So I won't say any more. I thank you all very much for coming. I really do. It's much appreciated. And I would now like to welcome our special guest, Professor David Flint, who has co-authored a book, Give Us Back Our Country, and we certainly want it back, that's for sure, David. David's Order of Australia, constitutional lawyer, chaired the ABC and written other books, and I've got the most admiration for you, David. I really have, so if you'd like to come up and hold the fort, that'll be good.